Hello, Marvmeisters.
What's going on, peoples?
Just want to say to all those that may be watching from the state of Arkansas that's been hit with the tornadoes tonight, you are in our thoughts and prayers, and anybody else who has been affected by all these tornado outbreaks today.
Yeah, we're supposed to get nailed tonight sometime.
We're supposed to get 12 inches of snow.
Well, better you than us. So what's going on out there, Marvmeisters, for this Friday night? Not much going on around here. Thought we'd do a live and bring some special guests into the show, discuss the events with Kegan Kline's guilty plea change hearing yesterday. Got a video that we'll be playing.
We got a good panel tonight.
Yes, and we're waiting on one other person, and they contacted me and said they'd be here in a few minutes.
All right.
So I think we just can go through the chat, give shout outs.
All right, let's give some shout outs. Indy Pam, how are you? You were the first one in tonight, so you get the first hello. Jinx13, how you doing? Randy, yep, I heard you guys are supposed to get some bad storms too.
Yep.
Karen, how are you? D, one of our moderators. Good evening, D. Olivia 2's in the house. Honeybee. Night Shadow. New name. Nice to see you. Welcome.
A Discorder.
Okay. Let's see here. The Divided Kingdom. Nice to see you too.
That's Bloke.
Bloke. What?
Yep, that is Bloke. There's Anthony. Said he'll be here in about 5 minutes, guys.
Did you get the email downloaded? Probably not. Hang on. I'm a little behind.
And I'll continue with that with the people in the chat. Jill, Nice to see you, Jill. Hey, nice to see you, Marcia. Randy, well, we're going to get nailed tonight around midnight. Renee Patton, good to see you. Who else we got in here? Danger Dave. There's my homegirl, Indy Pam.
I already said her.
My Charlie. Jacqueline Keeley. Another good person, Miss Purdue RN. Freckle Joy. What's going on, young lady? I love Elvis, not Priscilla. Good to see you.
Nice name.
Jan Brubaker. TTM fangirl. Carly Armstrong, nice to see you. Robin, good to see you. James Powers, what's up, Sleuth? Good to see you, buddy. I can never pronounce the Queen of Assassin.
Queen of
Ocean. Let's see. Andre, good to see you. We got some new names in here again.
Yeah.
Sarah Harvey. There's our merchandise.
Jacqueline. We just got put under a tornado watch. Okay.
Something to say. Another Discorder. Boston Christian. Derek Farmer, good to see you,
there
guy.
You are, Derek. Where have you been?
GP. Is that Marie Jane?
Yeah.
Julian Friend. Mustang. Renee Daz. Mama T, good to see you. Trust and Justice.
GP.
Boy.
Whole bunch of them.
Oh, yeah. Rose. Yeah.
And Z-Man. I think we got everybody. DGR Dave. And Melissa. All right.
There
bring on some of the panel.
Everybody's here.
Are they there?
Yep,
All right.
they're all here.
We're going to bring them on. Ruckus, how are you doing?
What's going on?
Ha ha! Love it. We got the professor.
You there, Professor? Your mic's off.
He'll be in a minute. Then we have True Crime News, Anthony Greeno.
What's up,
What's
guys?
going on, everybody?
How is everybody tonight?
Waiting on this storm to get here.
I'm perfect. Look at me.
What's going on, Prof? Are you there? Nope, don't see him yet.
Renee Days, thank you so much for starting the night out. Thank you.
So what's going on, guys? What's going on in your neck of the woods?
It's miserable here too. It's 70 degrees and breezy and clear.
Oh, just rub it in, why don't you?
It might hit 72 though, so I'll be a little pissed off about that.
Yeah, just rub it in. Just rub it in.
We're supposed to get 12 inches of snow.
I've been through that. I grew up in Boston. You can keep that shit.
Yeah, I think it's better to head south for all the time, not just the winter.
Oh.
Yep, he's got that Coors Light in his hand. He's ready to go.
Yes, and they don't pay me either. They don't pay me shit.
Well, we're all here to talk about yesterday's events with Kegan Kline's hearing.
Yes, sir.
And first, I wanted to let Anthony take over here for a second because he was boots on the ground actually there at the hearing yesterday and just wanted to get the lowdown of what he saw, what he heard, what he thought.
Yeah. Okay. So I made a video. I sent it to you. Did you get it?
Yeah.
You guys should have it. Okay.
And
so
it's got a little bit yet to go.
Still trying to download, yeah.
Whenever it does, it's kind of it just shows a little bit about everything that I saw yesterday. But, it was kind of I really didn't plan on going, but then I thought about it and some people reached out to me and said, you know what, you really need to go, man, because that's something that you were really involved with at the beginning of that. And so I went, to see what was going on and to give an update. And then there was a bunch of media there, but there wasn't, they didn't have a whole bunch of cameras and stuff out. So I walked in immediately. When I got there, I ran into a guy that, I'm not sure if he wants me to say his real name on here or not, so I won't. But he said that he was in jail with him. And so he was showing up to the court hearing so he could watch it. And he does like police sketches. So he does like the sketch of the judge and stuff like that in the courtroom. And you can see that on the Crime to Sleep channel. He's got him on there. So I ran into him and we went up to the courtroom and I was the first one there. He was the next one. We seen Anya and Kevin from Murder Sheet. They showed up shortly after, and those are the only people that were there as far as podcasters and stuff like that. Then there was a few media outlets there and some other random spectators. But I think a lot of the people that were actually in the courtroom were waiting on another court hearing.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So we tried to get some video footage of him, and they were like sneaking him in and out of the courtroom. Apparently he had arrived before anybody even got there.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, they were really like trying to keep him away from where we could film him at all.
So what was his demeanor like while he was in court? Did he act scared, or did he just like nonchalantly like, let's get this over with,
Kind of seems like that. I mean, you could tell that he was embarrassed by some of the things that were said. Like he basically just looked at, when he walked in, he looked around and he seemed like he was in a chipper mood. Walked down, sat down at the desk. Everything's okay. We're here for this. The judge is talking to him. The judge is really well spoken. If you have any questions or stuff like that, the judge is really professional. So the judge is asking him questions and he's answering them. Yeah, I'm going to plead guilty today. And this is not under an agreement with the prosecution. Yes, I know that. And he asked him, put him under oath by raising his right hand and started asking him some questions. Mainly his attorney, Andrew Aki, was the one talking, and the prosecutor trying to establish a factual basis for the guilty plea, which a factual basis is anybody can say they're guilty, but you have to actually admit that you did do that certain act on this day, this time, in the county of, in the state of Indiana, blah, blah, blah. It's a long legal process they have to go through to put it on the record. And he did that for an hour of establishing a factual basis on each individual count. And they read out loud the details of what he was accused of doing. And you could tell that, like, everybody in the courtroom was like, wow, man, that's pretty bad. You know, like, sounds pretty bad from some of the stuff that he was looking at and sharing with other people. And he had to admit that. He had to admit that he was sexually stimulated by looking at young children like that, you know. And
now, did he actually admit that, or was that just coming out of the prosecutor's mouth?
no, he admitted that. He had to admit it. Did you do this? Did you knowingly or intentionally, you know, watch this video or send this to a minor? Yes, I did. Okay, and you did that because you wanted to sexually gratify yourself or another? Yes. Yep. So he admitted it. A lot of yeses and nos, and I did. He didn't give any kind of statement or anything like that. He'll have an opportunity, the judge said, at sentencing to give a statement if he wants to give a statement prior to.
What a piece of shit.
Yeah, he is a piece of shit, dude. Trust me. I mean, sitting in there, I'm like, man, dude, this guy's a real piece of shit. I wonder who's in here supporting him, you know?
Right.
Like, I was wondering, curious. I didn't know. I didn't see anybody.
His dad
that I know
there.
of.
Yeah.
Who? Yeah, his dad wasn't there.
Yeah,
he wasn't there. No, nobody was, as far as I know.
What we're looking at on that video, Marv.
I got it done.
You ready?
You got it done.
What's
Hello,
up, Professor? Good to see you.
Your mic is
Your
muted.
mic's off.
Now, Callie said I'm only coming through the left headphone, so I just shut off the stereo. See if that's any better. If you guys hear me through both speakers now.
The professor is still muted.
You're muted. There we go. There it is.
Hi, guys.
What's going on, Professor?
Oh, I'm trying to get this straight. There we go.
What's up, Prof?
Nice time to join the party.
Welcome aboard.
We're getting ready to play a video of when Greeno was out in Peru during the court hearing yesterday, just to give us a lowdown what took place and things of that nature. So,
all right,
some stuff from the actual day yesterday. You guys also have a new member as a researcher.
All right. 2007 whistleblower. Welcome to our YouTube member. Thanks. All right. I am going to play.
A person of interest in the Delphi murders pleaded guilty to charges unrelated to the murders of Abby, William, and Liberty German. Kegan Kline pleaded guilty Thursday to multiple charges connected to a child exploitation case, 25 counts of child pornography, child solicitation, child exploitation, synthetic identity deception, and obstruction of justice as the result of an investigation undertaken by detectives attempting to solve the Delphi murders. He has never been charged in connection with those killings. During Kline's guilty plea hearing before Miami Circuit Court Judge Timothy Spar, defense attorney Andrew Aki read out loud to the courtroom and his client each count and the specific details of the evidence and whether the contents were pornographic videos, photographs, and dialogue or fake identities and attempts to destroy evidence. Aki related that one of Kline's victims was less than 12 years old. She's only 14. Aki quoted a message posted by his client referring to another victim. Ha ha. Kline pleaded guilty to 13 level 5 felonies, which carries a maximum of 6-year prison sentence, and 12 level 6 felonies, punishable by a maximum of 30 months in prison. During sentencing on May 18, Judge Spar will consider not only the term, but also whether those sentences will run concurrently or consecutively. Kline has been jailed pending trial for 31 months, time served that will no doubt be considered by Judge Spar during sentencing. So the big question is Kline connected to the Delphi murders? Does he know Richard Allen? Have they ever been to Ron Logan's? These are the questions that we are going to cover right here tonight.
where'd she go?
We're good. The video still goes.
What's that?
I said, we're good. We're good. It still goes. Prior to the hearing, I gave my take on the live stream of what I thought was going to happen in the courtroom. For Kegan Kline to show up for court, to enter a plea of guilty openly to the court, and the judge will ultimately have the decision on deciding that punishment and whether the charges will run concurrent and or consecutive. After hearing argument from the parties, the judge most likely, in my opinion, will not render a sentencing today. I believe that the judge will most likely enter a pre-sentence investigation to take place on Mr. Kline, and once that investigation is completed, then the probation department will make a recommendation to the state's attorney, and the state's attorney will be also making a recommendation at sentencing, whenever sentencing actually comes down to it. So it'll probably be sometime within the hour that he does show up and that hearing is gets underway. But up until then, there's no cameras or recordings or anything like that allowed inside the courtroom. I got the paper right here that was given to me concerning all that. It's for media, and I got a spot in the front row, so we will be right here live bringing it to you guys first. There are other people here, other podcasters and other creators, and so it's good. I was the first one here this morning, and I've seen a couple other people so that I've recognized from social media. But let's hope that we get some good some good information today. You know, we might hear exactly a little bit more details on what's going on. We're definitely going to hear Kline say he was guilty to, from what we're assuming, 25 counts of child pornography and exploitation of minors. And so it is very cold out here. It is bitter cold, as you can tell. I got the hat on and the hoodie on. I got my true crime shirt underneath and a long sleeve shirt on because it's cold. As you can tell, I'm wearing gloves outside. And man, I don't get out in the cold for just anybody. So it feels special, YouTube, that I am here in Miami County. Actually, so glad to be back. I mean, this is like, I've been waiting for this moment. You know, ever since the Delphi case first started, it was like, when are we going to have some closure? When are we going to start getting some answers on these things? And I think that, you know, from December 2021 until now, ever since the police put out that press release on YouTube saying we want information about the Anthony Shots account, things have changed so much in the investigation. We've seen an arrest. We've seen a search of the Wabash River, which I just crossed it on foot, just looking around down here. It makes you wonder, you know, what is going on with this Kline thing, and is it connected to Abby and Libby? So today it looks like we're going to see somewhat of a closeout for Kline. Okay, I don't think it's going to be the official sentencing today. I think he's going to plead guilty, and we'll see a pre-sentence investigation take place and all that stuff. So that is what we're here doing, ladies and gentlemen. I got my coffee and I got a spot in the front row. So I guess you can't beat it. I guess I got my cappuccino from the gas station. Yep, the gas station. Because why? Because I don't have a wife that can make me one. So I will be in the courtroom. Yes. So I am already got my spot inside the courtroom. I will be in there, and I will be taking notes, and social media posts are allowed from the courtroom. So I will be able to post things on social media from the phone. Just can't record any audio, video, take photographs, or anything like that inside the courtroom or anything connecting to the courtroom. So there's a spot upstairs. It's on the 3rd floor, and on the 3rd floor there's like a little hallway. There's a bunch of stairs to go up, and then there's like a little hallway, and you can see right into the courtroom. So you can't film anything right there because it could capture what's going on in the courtroom. And that new law about being in the courtroom and being allowed to film and stuff like that is actually doesn't take effect until May. So I got this paper right here, and I'm just going to tell you guys exactly what it says. Kline has not arrived yet. He will probably arrive sometime within the hour, probably half hour maybe. But I'm out here looking around. Trust me, I'm keeping an eye open. So this says right here that it's the court order from the judge that was given to me from the judge. That says, as would be expected, the following proceedings will be open both to the public and members of the media. The pretrial hearing that is scheduled to take place on Thursday, October 20th. They put 2022, which they mean here, 2023. And it says, during such hearings, individuals, observers may be permitted to use computers and or other electronic devices in the courtroom, especially for the purpose of taking notes during court proceedings, make text-based social media posts while in the courtroom, such as live tweeting, providing provided that engaging in social media activity does not interfere with the court proceedings, and during such hearings, observers shall be permitted or prohibited from participating or playing a role in these things. It says, you cannot live stream, broadcast, televise, make video and or audio recordings and or take photographs in the courtroom or in areas adjacent to the courtroom. That's signed by the judge here in Miami County, the judge that just handed us that. So there's a bunch of deputies. About an hour into the court session, the judge decided to take a recess to review some of the evidence and videos provided in order to establish a factual basis. What are you here for? What are you here for? Oh, that hearing? Okay, well, it's going to take place around 9:30, 10 o'clock. So that's what we're here for. I just keep walking around outside. I've got someone inside here with me that's kind of keeping me updated on what's going on in there. And what I'm trying to do is figure out exactly where Kline will come in this courthouse at. If anybody has any idea on where the inmates come into the courthouse at, let me know which side of the courthouse. I'm on the side that has like the nails over here, and looks like I'm on Main and Broadway. That corner, or 5th and Broadway, in between there. So if anybody has any idea on where the inmates will be brought into the courtroom at, I would like to know, because I'm trying to get a live shot of Kline as he comes in. I'd like to see what he looks like face to face. So if there's any questions, go ahead and ask them now. Other than that, I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to go back inside, and I'm going to get my spot in there and warm up and drink my coffee and prepare for this hearing. Okay? So since I don't see any questions popping up, I'll keep you guys posted right after the hearing. I will let you guys know what's going on. I'm going to try to drop a post or something like that on my Facebook page. He is going through all of the charges individually and pleading guilty. There are some photographs that the judge wants to look at and some video evidence that the judge wants to look at as well. So the court's going to adjourn, or it's in recess. They're going to pick back up here in a couple of minutes, and then we're going to continue the hearing. It appears that sentencing is not going to happen today, so there will be absolutely no sentencing, but the judge is going to set that sentencing date at a later time, and they've waived their right to be sentenced within 30 days. So sentencing could be set out for past 30 days. So I want everybody to keep that in mind. We're not going to see a final resolution here today, but we are going to get the guilty plea and a little bit more information into these crimes. Upon return, the judge ordered that sentencing take place on May 18th, and he was going to reserve judgment until then. Kline is being held without bond pending sentencing. As Kline walked in, he glanced at the media and other spectators. The hearing did not seem to faze him. He stared straight or looked at the desk when he answered the judge and or his attorney, simply with the answers, yes, no, I did. I have waited for the moment to see Kline face to face ever since December 6, 2021, when True Crime Investigates broke the story on Kline being connected to the profile of Liberty German under the Anthony Shots account. Since then, we've seen a mountain of evidence pile up against him, and then the sudden arrest of Richard Allen after a search of the Wabash. Are these cases connected? Because shortly after Kline took Indiana State Police to the Wabash River and the police searched, 3 weeks later, Richard Allen is arrested, and then Kline's charges are dismissed and amended. After the hearing, I decided to go to his former house, or his father's house, Tony Kline, who has publicly been scrutinized for possibly having a role in the Delphi murders. Kline has implicated his father as a possible child sex predator and abuser, but Tony Kline has never spoken publicly, and police won't confirm whether or not he is a person of interest in the case, but many online sleuthers believe he is. So I decided I wanted to go ask him some questions, so I attempted to knock on his door.
That's crazy.
Little pig, little pig.
That is crazy.
And there's no answer.
Of course.
Dude, he's got a pit bull and a Glock sticker on his door. Give me a break.
Yeah. Talk to you about Kegan Kline, please. You're home. If no comment, you can let me know that, and I'll go ahead and leave.
He sure in the hells ain't came to the door, is he?
Negative,
No,
Ghost Rider.
No, he didn't come to the door. I went to the side door too and knocked on it. So you can see in there, like you can see, like the blinds are kind of open, and you can just like see into the first door. This door was, you couldn't see through it. But it sounded like there was a dog in there, like walking around. It sounded like, or something was walking around in there. It sounded like.
Well, it's good to see those two doors now. When they describe kicking in the door, I'll have a visual now.
No answer. So no answer from Tony Kline. I guess we'll have to wait for another day until we talk to him. In the meantime, I'm going to reach out to Kegan Kline and see if he wants to comment on what he thinks is going to happen at sentencing. We're good on that. We're all done.
All right, here we go.
Can I
There you
just
go,
say
there
I
you go.
love how my butterflies are flying around your head?
Takes some
I love it.
creativity to figure that out now. How do you mix Frankenstein with butterflies and say, hey, I'd like something like this? And it's like, wow, that is something to really, really try there.
Can I just interject real quick and say
Yeah.
something here? Prof, this is bullshit, dude. You're way smarter than I am, and now I know you're fucking more handsome than I am, and I don't like this. Not one bit.
Only younger. All I got.
That's all you got.
So I guess the main two big question is what does people think what time he's going to get and if he's involved with the Delphi case?
Those are the biggest questions I've received ever since that hearing. You know, what do you guys think, Professor?
Yeah, everyone's innocent until proven guilty, but I 100,000% believe he's connected directly
To Delphi.
Yeah.
How far do you think that connection goes? Because I'm like, do you think it goes as far as like being there that day, or just like the catfishing lure them there type thing?
Oh, I'm pretty sure he was there that day.
What about you, Ruckus? What do you think? Do you think he was there
Absolutely. He was absolutely there.
at the High Bridge?
No, I don't think he was at the High Bridge. I think that he was maybe in the cemetery or somewhere in the area. My opinion, honest opinion, is waiting on his dad.
Okay.
I would
Were you?
have to say that he was in the area because we've all heard about the marathon being brought up, and so Richard Allen got a phone from somewhere, and that might have been the opportunity for them to swap phones or whatever they were doing.
Well,
Because
you mentioned the red Jeep too, so
I mean, you also got to remember, me and Ruckus were talking about this. We've talked about this for the last couple of days. Is like Kegan Kline created the Anthony Shots account, right? That's like saying that somebody has hacked my Facebook, and if they hack my Facebook from a unknown source, I'll get a notification to my phone. So if anybody was in that Anthony Shots account, Kegan would have known about it. He would have got a notification.
Unless he let him in.
Unless you let him in, exactly.
Yeah, there's no strangers, there's no outside people hacking into nothing in this case, including the Wi-Fi at his cousin's house. You can't just go sit outside somebody's house and get on their Wi-Fi. Everybody has a password.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier today also. That
Yeah.
just didn't add up to me either. The only three logical people that came to mind was Tony, Kegan, and Travis.
Has
What,
to
to
be.
log into the Wi-Fi?
would have had the password.
Yes, those are the three logical people because they're all family members.
And plus, when you have a device and you log on to that password, to that Wi-Fi with the password, you don't have to do it again. It'll hook up automatically the next
Right.
time you go there. So it's somebody that was known to that Wi-Fi. And we can like beat around the bush and talk about devices and all that, but I'd rather talk about people. I don't care what device it was, how many devices he had. there's people involved with this that are using those devices. They don't move around by themselves and hook up to Wi-Fi's.
Right.
So it was either Kegan, Tony, or Travis on that device, on that Wi-Fi. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Trexler.
No doubt. Yeah. And that was on the day of the murders.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
Do you know what time that was?
we call that a clue in the business.
It was
you
in the
know?
morning.
It was in the morning time.
Like how?
Yeah.
Like early in the morning?
Didn't they say that they contracted? We're supposed to meet the girls around 8 a.m.
Yes.
But the thing is, they were logged on looking at porn. They even know what they were doing. They were fucking looking at porn. So they were all wet and bothered and horny and all that shit before they even contacted the girls. Who looks at porn that early in the morning? Don't answer.
Bro,
Don't
it's
answer.
probably a
Don't
daily, probably a daily
Right. That's the
occurrence
routine.
for those
I mean,
guys.
that's what he does.
it's like being an alcoholic. You go to bed drunk, you wake up needing a drink.
I'll drink to that.
You know? So, I mean, I'm not going to rule out Kegan because another big discussion is about why wasn't Delphi brought up in the hearing yesterday? And me and Ruckus and Marvin, all of us just looked at each other like, you've got to be kidding me. You're going to ask that question when Delphi has nothing to do with the Miami County case, period.
It's totally unrelated. It's
Right.
just he's over there. The reason, yeah, and that's a big thing to say that is because people are like, well, he didn't plead guilty to the Delphi case, and it's like, well, of course not. He's not even charged with murders in the Delphi case or anything. He's not even charged with anything connected to that. It's just he's come up as a person of interest, in the Delphi case. And
Now,
it's
why do you think that is? We all agree that he's connected to Delphi in some way. So why do you think he hasn't been charged in Delphi? Why do you think that is?
So that's something that's brought to my attention a lot and something that I consider. And people try to convince me, but I'm just not convinced all the way that he's giving information, or maybe he's the one that gave him that information for that search and people are saying that led them to Richard Allen, or he's negotiating things behind the scenes with Delphi, that I'll give you this information on Allen, or I'll testify, or I'll give you my dad, or whatever it is, in order to, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's what people think, but I don't know if there's
one rock solid thing.
Right.
He created the Anthony Shots account.
Correct.
No doubt about that, right?
Yep.
The Anthony Shots account is connected to the Delphi murder.
Yes.
So that means
Somehow.
that Kegan's connected. Now, that's the lowest form of connection, but he's connected just by that.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed.
By talking to them and agreeing to be there, and then saying he was there to somebody else after the fact.
He's
I
a
showed up.
he's
Yeah,
a dumb
he never
fuck.
showed up.
He is. He's a
Okay,
dumb fuck.
So let's just watch the language. So
I'm sorry.
slap my hand slapped from YouTube, but let me ask you this, Ruckus, you're law enforcement.
Mhm.
Could law enforcement be using him and the Miami case to flush out others for Delphi by not charging him for it right now?
I think personally that whether he knew it or not, he's been providing information to law enforcement way back since 2017, whether he knew it or not. He's been cooperating. He just didn't know it until 2020. But not charging him, I don't think is going to protect anybody, any information, put it that way, that law enforcement wants to keep close to the vest. By not charging him, that tells me that there's always been a deal working. They've been working on him all this time.
And you also got to remember, Kegan even said out of his own words in the transcript that he knew he was screwed.
That's not the word he used, but I don't want Marv yelling at me, so I'll go with that.
Or he's effed. That's the word he used. He's effed.
What do you think, Prof? I see you shaking your head. What do you think?
Foot. Foot is the word I like.
Okay.
He's foot.
Well, he is.
Their foot. Their foot.
He is.
Yeah.
But if you just look at the facts, he made the Anthony Shots, so he's connected there. That account talked to the girls that morning, so that's strike two. And they don't have to take him out of the jail for him to snitch. They don't. They'll go in and talk to him, and he can snitch all day long in the jail. But they brought him on a field trip to the river.
Right.
Why is that?
That's the biggest question that I have.
To me,
Why?
it's very clear. It's very clear why they want him to point out where they needed to take out vegetation, and because whatever it was, he probably tossed it out of a moving car.
Yeah.
It's a walking bridge, I think.
Okay.
I think that's a walking bridge. Right
I can't see him walking from that bridge to his house in Peru, but we can go with that even if he's walking. They cleared out vegetation and everything, not just in the water. 5 weeks. 5 weeks. Then all of a sudden they finish with that, and boom, Richard Allen's on the radar.
And that's not a coincidence.
No, absolutely
in my
not.
opinion, it's not.
And then he got some charges dismissed right after that. Like literally, like the next day I saw it, and it was like,
5 charges.
I'm looking at it on the news. Richard Allen's arrested, and then I'm looking at it on the news, and it pops up, and it's like update on Kegan Kline, charges are dismissed, and I'm like, what? Okay, he's clearly telling.
Charges like that do get dismissed all the time because the victims or their parents won't cooperate. They don't want to testify, or they can't prove that they're underage. But I'm here to tell you that Kegan did not know that. Law enforcement might have known those 5 charges were iffy, but they didn't tell Kegan that, and they used those 5 charges as good faith.
Okay.
All right, we'll take these charges off for you, even though they knew it meant nothing, just to show them they're trying to set him up. They're grooming him like he groomed girls, underage girls. They're grooming him to get to where they're at now, and it's going to really pick up now. I think it's going to really cruise along. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm not really familiar with Indiana. If this was happening in Florida, I'd be a little more confident. If it happened in the county I used to work on, I would be Ruckus rock solid on what this is going on. I would know exactly what's happening.
But I do see the bond hearing getting pushed out now.
For Richard Allen? Why?
Yep. I just do because, Nick McClellan's having such a problem having employees to cover paperwork, distribute discovery, and he even admitted it during the last county council meeting. He said he's got upwards of 100 witnesses, and he's only got 1 secretary, and they couldn't even use her because she didn't know what she was doing.
What position is he asking for? Because I knew there was one, and he hired somebody, but it didn't work out, right?
Right. So now there was 2 secretaries, I believe.
And I think he was also wanting a special prosecutor to take over the cases while he worked solely on Delphi.
That could be 2, yeah.
Well, he's got a deputy, Shane Evans, and Shane's a prosecutor. Shane, take over as, head honcho here while I prosecute the Delphi case.
Yeah, but when do you ever see a murder trial only have 1 prosecutor in the courtroom?
Well,
there's always a slew of them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all you ever have is just the 1 prosecutor and usually the local attorneys.
Boy.
But when he was asking for more money and stuff like that, I'm here to tell you, me and Frank talked about it. Delphi is going to be fine. That case is not going to get pushed back, not going to get pushed aside by the prosecutor office. They'll push everything else they got going on, all this little redneck hokey bullshit that they got to deal with. They'll push that aside to do the Delphi case. You watch.
Yeah.
So if you want to get a DUI, now's the time to do it in Delphi.
Yeah, you don't want to be in jail when that's going on. When Richard Allen or any of these people are going to trial, yeah, you don't want to be in jail because you're not going to court anytime soon. I'll tell you that.
Nope.
Right.
Nope. You're working for that time served.
Yeah. Exactly.
But there's a lot at stake right now. If Kegan Kline gets sentenced to the max, let's just play devil's advocate. Say he gets every sentence to the max and they're running concurrently, not consecutively. So that's, 60 some odd years. So if he can negotiate that down, if we play devil's advocate and it is the max, if he can get 20 years off of that by helping them on Delphi, that's actually getting 40 years off because he's going to get day for day while he's in prison. And people need to remember that. There's a lot of time involved here, and he's a young person. So, looking at time like that, he's going to roll big time.
And just like I was talking with you guys about, is that he's got these felony 6 charges in the state of Indiana, the max is 3 years. Well, if he stays in jail for 3 years before he goes to prison, he's going to get those charges are going to
Be
Time
served.
served. Time
Time
If
served.
they're
served on
concurrent, yeah,
those.
they'll be time served because it's only 2.5 years serve 15 months. Actually, you serve
Right.
50% of those level 6s. So yeah, so he's already completed the level 6s by now, right? He's been in jail for over 2 years, so he would have already completed that
Right.
time. So
And
75% on the level 5 felonies, if they're all concurrent, then you're looking at a maximum of 6 years. But the presumptive is 3, so that's what they recommend is 3. So if you're saying if they run them all concurrent, that would be really the max thing he could do is 6 years, serve 75% of that, which is what? 4 and some change? 4
He-
years, 9 months, maybe?
He can get time served on every single thing
Yeah.
if he
I think
helps
he
out
could.
enough. He can walk.
I think they're going to give him some. I think they're going to run him some concurrent, some consecutive, and give him some time to where it's some prison time, and also probably some community corrections and a lot of probation after that, giving him an opportunity to screw up, and he's going to have to register as a sex offender.
well, there is a couple felony 4s on there, and that's a 2 to 12 year stint for a
Are
level
there felony
felony.
4s? Because I couldn't keep track of them all yesterday. I thought there was no felony 4s anymore.
Well, if you look at the charging information on my case, you look right at what it says. It says felony 4 is the very first thing, and then it goes down through the charges.
Okay.
So, what do you think there, Prof?
Well, the same, but I might tend towards him getting the most of that rather than just the least, even with all his cooperation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
you,
and so
you
yeah,
also
you're right, Frank. It
you
does say
also
felony 4, but it's been amended, so they have all been amended to 5s and 6s now. But
okay.
it started as a felony 4 case.
But you also got to remember that I mean, the prosecutor and the defense attorney were basically battling out in the courtroom yesterday over run it consecutive or concurrent, and it sounds like to me that the prosecutor, she wants to get the max. That's what
She
it
wants
seems.
more time.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, she said in there yesterday, like, we will not negotiate a plea deal with Mr. Kline. She straight said that, because the judge is like, well, we pushed this off for negotiations, per the defense, and she straight up said, we're not, the state's not willing to negotiate an offer with Mr. Kline. If he's going to plead guilty, he's going to do it at the mercy of the court, So that's a big risk. I mean, we've seen what happened to James Bryan Chadwell on his thing. I mean, he got 91 years.
As opposed to what, though?
Well, I mean, they could have, I guess the minimum would have been a lot less than that. I mean, he could have done about maybe 8, but they gave him,
what did he have to offer to for them to negotiate that?
I would say nothing.
Correct.
He wouldn't have anything to offer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, see, Kegan does. I think
Right.
everybody here thinks that Kegan has some leverage, not much. His attorneys are doing some great lawyering. They've put him in the best possible position that he can be in for all the fecked up things that he's done. Trying to use Prof's word. So,
Thank you, Ophelia, for the super sticker. Much appreciated. Marv's in the background typing, and I didn't even see it.
she's on it, man.
Yep, she's on it. And so, like,
Somebody asked if Kegan was in jail or in prison. He's in Miami County Jail.
Yeah, he's not getting any gain time towards his sentence while he's in jail. Nothing.
And all you people thought that he was lacking food and all that. Man, that dude looked like he's been feeding like he's feeding out of a trough.
Yeah. He's not
but if
missing
you
any
think he needs
snacks.
food, this is his commissary fund right here.
Well, he admitted to me the last time he tried to contact me that he said, man, I need to know if you're going to do that interview because I got to have my commissary turned in by the end of the evening. I said, so this is what this is all about. So we said, nope, we're not doing this interview.
Try to milk it. Be like, all right, so how about you give me the interview first, and then I'll make sure that you got some food to eat on, dude.
But that just goes to show you how dumb he is. He's worried about that, Frank. He's not worried about getting out or anybody that can help him with his case. No, he's worried about getting some Snickers and a couple bags of soup,
First of all, Kristen, I never sent him money for commissary. We only put $20 on twice for his chirp device, and that was it.
That cracks me up that they have chirp devices.
That's because I won't let you put any. I won't put any more money on there.
Oh yeah, she
I
put
I
her
want
foot
to talk
down.
to him. I need a link to talk to him.
I mean, if you want to try to talk to him, man, I can send you his number, his chirp number.
Yeah, I'd like it. I'd like to try to talk to him. I'd like just to see if just ask him a couple questions.
Well, you better pretend you're a female and start sexting with him if you want to get
catfish
anywhere.
him, I guess.
Yeah, catfish him.
Who's got a good picture out there I can use?
Hey, I got an 8x10 of me that's a scratch and sniff. You're welcome to one of those.
Yeah.
Just go to the Glamour magazine and cut you out a female's head.
Yeah. Put it on my face.
So give us some insight there, Prof. You're awful quiet over there.
Oh, about what?
Anything that's running through your mind when it comes to this case? Any things that are questionable?
See you later, Kristen.
Well, I think the Klines are very central, and Richard Allen, and I'm glad to see that at least they are at the center of the net right now. And I agree with with the idea that this time that has let individuals have allowed to be not arrested has been intentional. And hopefully it's working. I think it's all working. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're 1,000% ahead of everything. So I'm very positive on it. I just think we got another group of individuals that are in the wider circle that we're still working on more.
I keep hearing that there's U.S. Marshals already involved, and if that's the case, that means they're looking for somebody. To me,
yeah,
because that's all they do.
Yeah, that and transport.
Right.
Yeah, that's a gig, man. I wish I did U.S. Marshals, man. They got it made.
Well, we all know that. I mean, we all believe more than one person was involved in this.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I think so, but I don't. I think so, but I don't think so. I guess.
What do you mean you think so, but you don't think so?
Okay, I think that Kline is related with the social media part of it and the luring them there. I don't think that he participated in the murders at all.
I don't either.
I think that he's a liar. When some of the things I've heard is he said that he was there in like some Jeep or something like that. Well, none of the witnesses that we've seen so far have said that. But they did say, one person did say they saw a dark car, maybe a purple PT Cruiser, which generates interest of me because Tony Kline's mom owned a purple PT Cruiser at that time. Was there a purple PT Cruiser there, or is someone just mistaken on the type of car? They just happened to say that kind of car. It could be a coincidence, but how come other people didn't see the same car?
Another thing that really bothers me is that this lady who allegedly saw Richard Allen on the bridge, right? And then you got the woman who allegedly saw a Bloody Money guy walking down 300. And I'm thinking, okay, if that's the case, you had Tara German, Derek German, Cheyenne, were all at that Mears lot around 4 o'clock when this lady saw him walking by while she was driving.
Yeah,
Why didn't anybody else see him or mention it?
Do we have a time that she saw him?
Yeah, it's written in the probable cause. It says
in a position. That was a 2-part question,
or something like that.
357 or something like that. Yeah.
But where on 300? That's what I was getting at.
It doesn't say where. That's right.
Yeah, it doesn't say where, but it's got to be somewhere between
Ron Logan's property and the entrance to the trails right across from the mayor's house.
Well, no, it could have been. Is he on the Hoosiers Harvest Store?
That's the thing. It doesn't mention that. It doesn't say that at all. So
Ellie knows. Ellie knows.
I thought that they would say that in the probable cause. Like, okay, so a lady saw him, and then at 357, and then at 402, he is seen walking by the Hoosier Harvest Store at this time back to his vehicle. They didn't say that.
Have to remember, this probable cause is over 40 pages long. All we got was 8 pages.
But even with that 8 pagers, there is plenty there, trust me, to arrest
Right.
Richard Allen. Plenty. They don't need any more than that. Whatever's on the other pages, I can't even imagine for an arrest. There's plenty of probable cause for an arrest there. I've seen people arrested for way less than that.
Oh yeah, you
Right.
can just
What
say.
I'm-
Sometimes you just say someone did something, they could be arrested.
Oh yeah, yep.
You, you
sure
better be
can.
right, though.
But
You
what
better
I'm
be
Yeah.
right.
saying is some of the stuff where we're saying it wasn't in the probable cause could still be in there. They just
Like-
didn't release it to us yet.
Like what? What are we talking about?
He was
Like that,
seen
him
on
on
the video camera,
Okay.
that type of stuff. But they had plenty to get the probable cause in the 8 pages that they released, so they're not telling us that yet.
Right. They convinced that judge to sign that probable cause. So
And see, another thing it caught my eye in that probable cause is when Derek was walking the trail and ran into FSG, right?
No, the flannel shirt guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And according to Richard Allen's statement, he walked back up the trail and sat at the bench until about 3:30. And the only bench that I know of that I recall at that time, the first time I went out there, is the one right there at the 501, 505 split.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, why didn't Derek or anybody see him sitting there?
That's because he
Derek-
didn't. Hit.
Derek was
was a
on the
lie.
trailer about 3:15.
That was a lie. That's why.
Yeah.
Well,
It
here's
was a lie.
what I think.
I'll be right back, guys.
Go
I
ahead.
think you got. I don't know at this point why anyone should be taking anyone's word for anything, and as far as all of those in the lot, and Tara and Derek, and all of these anecdotes, I've sort of backed off of all of that to reconfigure, in my head, other scenarios, that would make it make more sense. And I guess that's where, that's why I leave it open-ended with a good number of individuals in addition to just these 3. I definitely think you're both your Klines and Richard Allen. But I also see room for another several. And I think that's what we're dealing with. And I also, I've said before that I think that you may have some already incarcerated. So that would make that part easier, in that, yeah, they'll have to be dealing. Okay. But they're already incarcerated. So they're not going anywhere.
Checking the weather here. It's not raining like it is up north right now.
I'm getting thunder right now.
It's not supposed to hit us
Dude,
till around
It's
midnight.
raining really hard right now. I can hear it really hard right now on the roof. It's going. Shh. I actually muted my microphone because I was afraid you guys might hear it. Yeah, it's thundering bad here.
I think that makes sense. As far as some of the players may already be in jail that know about this.
Yeah, and I think you've had my whole distaste for it now at this point, these many years later, is that I think you have a lot of people covering for each other and lying, and just everything we've seen from just about all of them. Like, for example, Kegan was very much lying in the whole transcript. When you read it through. And then you go and now you accept the fact that he's pled guilty to most of those charges. We know which ones because they were read. So, that's just an example of the amount of lying and passing it off and claiming ignorance. And I think if you got everyone involved doing that, we got this problem. It's hard to understand because there's so many lies going around.
There's a lot of lies and there's a lot of misinformation and there's just a lot of unknown information. There's a lot of stuff that comes out as truth and then people speculate on it, and then people speculate on the speculation, and that's the issue because then it gets way out there. Like, okay, well, he's guessing this. Let me guess something off his guess, and extend on it. And it turns into some crazy, weird stuff that nobody understands. And people that are fresh coming into the case are totally confused because they're like, well, I heard that, there's these two dudes and they drove a truck to this guy's house and had a party. And it's like, where did you get that information? How does that come about like that?
Yeah.
We're
and
all
I think
speculating, all of us.
we are.
But I mean, it's really out there. At least some people can keep speculation within reason, I guess.
Well, I
that's
think
what
it goes both ways too. I think you got, on one hand, you can get tunnel vision and not speculate enough or box yourself in, and on the other hand, you can go into complete wild speculation off of other speculations and other, lies, and so it's sort of a middle ground is what I'm looking for. That's what I've tried to do.
See, I'm way on the side that you're talking about. I'm boxed in, dude. I'm boxed in like a turtle's pecker. I'm not leaning on anything until law enforcement says it happened.
Right.
And
see,
Which
like
they're not going to say it until it's all done. They're not going to say anything really, in my opinion.
And they're not even going to say it until it happens at trial and he's found guilty. Then they're going to be like, well, the court found him guilty. There you go. I don't think they're going to come out and be like, yeah, now that it's all over, yes, we believe he did this, and this.
Right.
And I do agree with Hybrid Pisces. There is misinformation put out there intentionally. I do honestly believe that's going on also.
You think by law enforcement?
No, I think it's by idiots on the internet, like whatever leakers and stuff.
I think there's misinterpretation of what law enforcement has put out there, because I think if a lot of that or some of it or half of it has been strategic use of media and what's put out, you could kind of go off of that and also lean on the side of, now you're building on strategic manipulation of, the case from law enforcement to try to stir things in different directions. So I think it's all pretty complex to put together.
And you're right, because we're all frustrated when we listen to Doug Carter because he talks in word salad.
If you take all of the players in this case, right? If you take all of your pre-notions of them and everything that we've heard and what we think of these folks, and you put them all into a brand new context where you don't know anything about them, just look at the facts. That's what I try to do. But, to be honest with you, none of us really know. I'm going based off experience and what I've seen and what I've heard. Some things come easy to me, some don't. But there's facts in this case that we can't get around. We can't skirt them. We can't speculate on them. There's certain facts that we have to deal with. And that's how law enforcement does it. They backtrack and they follow evidence. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the evidence in this case is going to come from testimony. They've got over 100 witnesses, and we still don't know what Kegan's going to bring to the table. We'll find out when he gets sentenced. I'll tell you that much. Depending on his sentence, that's going to say a lot.
Right.
And I think 100 witnesses or over 100 is a lot.
Yeah. Well, they can parade them in and out. I'm surprised the judge is allowing that. Especially if they're, because there's not 100 eyewitnesses. If they're special witnesses or they're experts and all that, the judge can say, yeah, we don't need all of these people parading in and out. It gets ridiculous. It really does.
Pick your top one.
Right.
It's going to be a long trial. Yeah.
Right. Now, with evidence, I mean, there could be 20 people involved just in a chain of custody of a piece of evidence. So, I could see stuff like that, but they could just use the logs and the list and the evidence bags to prove chain of custody. But if they got to use that many witnesses, that just tells me that they don't have a whole bunch of physical evidence, which is unfortunate.
Well, I mean, what other physical evidence do you think that there might be at the scene? I mean, they've talked about DNA. They've talked about the crime scene being unusual, partial fingerprints, things like that. They did say at the 1-year press conference, that was probably the biggest thing that was broke in the case for me that I think that I was a part of, was finding out from Kim Riley that he said that the suspect has apparently never committed a crime before. So that said that we were looking for someone that was never arrested before.
Well, it doesn't have DNA in CODIS or fingerprints on file.
Right.
Exactly. And that was
Right.
like, okay, well, that's someone who's not been to jail yet, you know? So
Mm.
that was my first indication that the person that we were looking for was not like a criminal, you know, like a known criminal.
Mm.
Um, you know, and that's the thing that's kind of led me to looking at more people like that seem like a stand-up person, you know what I mean? But would have been right there in plain sight where everybody would know who they are. You just don't realize it, you know,
Well,
especially with that
it,
picture so pixelated.
Well, the digital evidence is going to be huge in this case. We all know that. It all revolves
Yeah.
around digital evidence and tying people to that. And I believe that that's what they're talking about when they're talking about tentacles and how much is involved. And I've explained it before on my videos. How much is involved with? I mean, you have to get a subpoena for each one of these social media platforms and from the cell phone company and all that. You have to get a subpoena. Now, it's an administrative subpoena. You don't need a judge to sign it. You only need a captain or above. In Florida, anyways, it's not hard to get, but it takes time. And for each one, you can get 10,000 pages of information that you have to go through and then figure out who their friends list is and go after those people and do the same thing over and over and over. So it takes time.
Well,
And
and I think on the DNA, it could also be someone who was not directly the murderer. You know, if someone handled the bodies afterwards, or had something to do, or handled them prior. You know, I mean, the DNA that they do have does not necessarily have to be the murderer's DNA.
you're absolutely right.
Hmm.
I would like to see, or if they, when they did the search on Richard Allen's house, if they came up with any evidence in there.
Yeah,
I'm sure they have
Yeah.
and for
something.
that matter, Ron Logan, we don't know if they pulled anything from his search warrant. We have no idea what they found in there.
Right. No returns have been shown or anything when it comes to those two.
Right.
It just could be corroborative evidence, corroborative evidence. It doesn't have to be anything direct. We don't know. And that bullet that they found, I did a video on that too. Just loading it in the clip, you're loading up that lip between the
Yep.
casing and the projectile with DNA and partial prints. There's no way around it. Now DNA does deteriorate, and like the rest of us, he may have had those rounds in that magazine for 10 years. I mean, some people just don't shoot, they have it for protection. So, but from what I understand, he shot a lot. He went to the range. So they should
I
have
am
found DNA and fingerprints on that round, I think.
on that round. Now, okay, so I'm glad that you said that about the firing of the thing, or putting the bullet in there. So I actually reached out to the Indiana State Police, the academy down there, and there's a guy that runs this. I think his last name's Hoyt. I think it was said by an email. Anyway, he's the director down there, and I asked him. I said, would it be possible to be able to like meet with someone who specializes in that kind of field to kind of show us for a presentation, a little bit about if we have a regular bullet, okay, fresh, and he puts it into a weapon, would they be able to tell? I want him to show the process of how that works. Stick it in there, eject it from the chamber, and then actually run it through the process of trying to decipher which weapon it came from, and have a couple different weapons there, and just be like, okay, we're going to test these and show what it looks like, the striations and the markings on a bullet or on from the gun, and how that actually works. And he said that I could maybe meet with someone. He doesn't know when they would be able to do that, but I'm really trying to get them to show us that, because that does interest me a lot. Because some people are out there saying that's not credible at all, but I think that it is.
It's
I mean, what
not
do you?
junk science. It's ballistic science.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's.
I
I mean,
think
it's
the
like
problem would be with the jury accepting it, because the those not familiar with it, I think, would discount that piece really easily.
There's a lot involved. Anybody that has, and most of the people in chat probably do have a firearm for protection. Usually everybody has a semi-auto. At the top of the magazine, inside it's metal. It's not all plastic. It's metal. So loading a round in and coming out into the chamber, it's going to scrape across that metal as well. So what magazine you're using also impacts the striations and the tool marks that are going to be on that round. It's not junk science by any stretch of the imagination, But any attorney worth their salt will be able to confuse the jury enough where that's not going to make a big difference. Actually, just by chance. What a surprise. I have a gun within reach. What a surprise.
There you go.
Mine's right behind me, and I did the same test.
You can see the metal at the top of the magazine. So the round's going to go across that. And this is what I'm talking about as far as
Yeah, same with mine.
with this little lip where the projectile goes into the casing. When you slide this into the magazine with your thumb, you're loading that lip up with plenty of DNA. That's not trace DNA, folks. That's plenty of DNA. You could probably clone a Ruckus with the amount of DNA that I'm putting on that.
Here's another question I got for you guys. How do you think that bullet got there? You think it was in the firearm and he ejected it? Just was using it for intimidation and ejected it? Do you think that he had it in his pocket and had already had it in the weapon before? How do you think that happened?
I would 100% think it's he didn't realize he already had one in and went to chamber one, and the one in there popped out.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking also.
More likely than anything.
But it could have fell out of his pocket.
It could have,
or anybody's pocket for that matter. But did he have one in the chamber when he was on the bridge? Now we're saying if this is Richard Allen and if he had a gun. Now, did he rack that on the bridge and say down the hill? We don't know. We haven't heard all of that 43 seconds yet. So that would be, if he racked it there, now there's one in the chamber. And then he may have, in the excitement, this is not a typical incident for somebody to be involved in. There's a lot of mental anguish and stuff like that. And then, so he may have racked it again to get them to comply with whatever he's asking them to do, not realizing that he already racked one. You don't think when you're in that situation. I mean, I've seen law enforcement officers with 15 years experience that train all the time unload a full magazine during a gunfight and put another one in. Wow. You just don't think when the shit hits the fan, you don't think, And I'm sure that was a situation, no matter what it was. We don't know what was going on yet, that he's never been in before. And so but again, that could have fell out of his pocket or anybody's pocket. We don't know if they found a print, DNA, the whole thing with it's matched up to his gun. It could be, it could not be. Any attorney can get that. A jury to not even consider that to be good science. Even though I believe it is. It's ballistic forensics. It's good science, but juries don't know that.
I think that they'll probably have an expert on the topic to come in and explain to the jury exactly how that works.
That's huge too. The expert witnesses are huge. It's all
they break it down.
Unfortunately, at this point, once it goes to the district attorney and the prosecutor, facts are out the window. Facts don't matter anymore. It's all smoke and mirrors and delivery and how well the attorneys present the case. Look at O.J. Simpson and Casey Anthony. Facts don't matter. It's all about what they do from here. Once the prosecutor gets it, that's it. You only get one shot. That's why it takes so long. You have to cross your T's and dot your I's. I'd rather take an extra month and make sure it's good before you turn it over. So they're confident about Richard Allen. They're very confident about him.
They have to create a story that's going to be able to convince the jury that this is the man who did it. It's basically
it's all about how they tell that story.
Exactly.
No, I think a big part of him getting convicted is going to be he admitted to being there at those times. He admitted to dressing like that. He said that he saw certain people there. They said they saw him. I mean, and that lady, that lady who said, I saw him and turned around and started walking back, and I passed these two girls I believe to be Abby and Libby.
The fact that nobody saw him afterwards, until the Muddy Bloody witness, speaks volumes, too, that they did not see him after that.
Or them, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that does not mean that he killed the girls.
Right.
He got charged with felony murder. There's a huge difference. Huge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're saying he's the one that led them down the hill.
Yeah,
I think they're
the
doing that 'cause
Elkhart
it's gonna be
4, Elkhart
easier.
County, Indiana. 5 teenagers broke into a house. The homeowner shot and killed one of them. The other 4 got sentenced and convicted of felony
Felony
murder.
murder. Yep.
Yeah. Now they got it reversed 3 years later, but still, they rightfully got charged with that, and it rightfully got reversed. But still, they got charged with the right charge. They shouldn't have got charged with burglary. Their friend got killed, and that poor homeowner has to live with that now, doesn't he? Shooting one of these kids.
Yeah.
If they weren't breaking in, it wouldn't have happened. So they're as liable as a getaway driver or whatever. So, but they don't have to prove a whole bunch on Richard Allen. They've got enough. I think they're going to nail him up. He's going to roll anyways. You watch. He's going to roll.
You think so on Richard Allen? I think Richard Allen is one of those types of people, man. I don't think he's going to say anything. I think he just thinks that he's slick enough. He's going to get away with it. He's stayed right there the whole time. I think that he's got what I call a Mark Redwine type of personality. If anybody doesn't know who Mark Redwine is, he was a guy out in Colorado that killed his son, and he was just right there in the mix of everything on Dr. Phil and on TV, and and just with this, like, well, I mean, I don't know what happened to him, and everyone, his wife was pointing at him saying, "You did this." He's like, "No, I didn't do this," and it's just like they feel so confident that they couldn't.
Oh yeah, people
Pointed the finger, they could be like, "Well, prove that." I mean, because I've got other witnesses of mine that would say otherwise.
Well,
I
why
think you've
bump
got a
out?
lot of I think you've got a lot of unsolved homicides by family members.
Mm-hmm.
That is the exact scenario and the reason they are unsolved.
But there's a reason why he's bumping out his bond hearing, and not only that, he has not waived his right to a speedy trial yet.
Correct.
So that says a lot.
Yeah.
That says a lot. Most people would want to get the hell out of there. So you don't waive your right. You want a speedy trial. You want to go. Well, then why postpone the bond hearing? Don't you want to know what the state has? That's the whole purpose of it. But he's bumping it out. My
I don't think he's
opinion,
gonna put
because
any
it's
bond.
all depending on Kegan. If this, then that is happening. Right before our eyes, that's happening. They're telling Kegan, if you plead guilty and take these charges, well, then if you help us, we'll get the sentencing a little lighter for you, and we'll give you immunity on Delphi if you get us an arrest and conviction. Now, why hasn't Kegan been talking? Why hasn't there been a deal up until this point? Because he doesn't want to snitch on his dad. That's my opinion.
1000%.
So
He kind of did already, though. I mean, in the HLN interview, he basically threw it out there. That's kind of
And
how
he did the same thing in the transcripts also.
Yeah, just put him out there like that, and then turn
well,
around and
he
say,
didn't snitch on. He didn't say his dad was involved with the murders. He said that his dad is the only one that could have had access to those devices. Just me and my dad were home, is what he said.
Right.
He didn't say anything about his dad being involved. As a matter of fact, he avoided that like the plague.
He did, but he left it out there for you to infer that it was his dad.
Yeah.
He also even said that he could have been letting his friends use his phones.
So his friends just come over and look up that kind of stuff on his phone, and that's cool.
I mean,
like he's such a liar. You know
I just can't see somebody in the position he's in to leave the Anthony Shots account logged in while somebody's using his phone.
Nope.
No.
Mm-mm.
That's never going to happen.
Something he would want to keep private. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Well, unless you or your family are a bunch of POSs.
Just a bunch of people coming over, hanging out, and having a weird CSAN party or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like,
he knew exactly who was using that phone at all times.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
right.
There's no doubt. That's why I brought up earlier about if somebody was in that account, he would have known.
Hell yeah.
He would have known.
Well, up until this point, he's been basically like, F law enforcement, let them do their job, let them figure it out. But now he's looking at a lot of time. So now that ball is in play. Definitely in play.
Well, who else said let law enforcement do their job?
Kurtz.
Here you go.
Kurtz did. He sure the fuck did.
Yes, he
sure
did.
did.
They did their job and got hit with two counts of murder.
Yeah, how's that working out for him?
Mm-hmm. Real good, huh?
Yeah, I love people like him.
He's not getting out of prison ever now because of it.
No, he was never getting out in the first place. He's definitely not now. not with the second murder on his book. You know,
Right. You just
a
have
lot
to
of people.
look at everything. Like you take, like I said, you take your what we know about these people and our the way we think about them from what we gather and what we know, and just make them just we don't know who they are, but here's the facts. Everybody would be like, yeah, that fat kid that's in jail is he's the cog. He's the piece that they need, and it just is what it is. And everything that Richard Allen, and he's getting some good lawyering too. Both Kegan and Richard Allen are
Yeah.
getting some very good legal advice. But it's going to start dropping now. Richard Allen's looking at a lot of time too. They just need to prove he kidnapped him. We haven't seen the rest of that video. If that video he comes into more focus and we can see that, yeah, that's definitely, I believe it's him anyway. But
Yeah,
if
I
we
think
can
it is.
see, yeah, it's definitely him, there's no doubt. He's screwed. He kidnapped him.
Hey,
Just
Ruckus.
saying
Yeah, if
down
you're
the
seen on
hill.
video, I think that's enough evidence for the jury. You know, if the video gets a clear shot of your face with a gun,
Yeah.
go down the hill. Okay, you clearly did this. You know, that's you. It doesn't take any more than that. It's just common sense on that part.
I can tell you when I was at the PCA hearing, when he walked in the courtroom, he walked right next to Randy, and he was probably 10, 15 feet away from me. That dude looked so scared. I don't see him dragging this out and going to trial. I just don't see it.
Who did? Richard Allen?
Yeah, he walked right
Looked
by
scared?
us. Oh, yeah.
Who here thinks he's already cooperated?
Richard Allen?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh,
Ding,
yeah.
ding.
Yeah.
I think
not
he's
there.
been cooperating.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's why he's pushed this hearing out. See, he knows, and we all know, okay, that they found something at his house. We just don't know what it is. But Richard Allen and his team knows, and law enforcement knows what they took out of his house. We just don't know. What Richard Allen and his team do not know is everything else law enforcement has. So
Right.
that's why they want this bond hearing, so that they can start saying, well, shit, maybe we need to negotiate rather than run this up the flagpole. But they've already got enough through discovery. Yeah. Oh, pucka, pucka, pucka. You know, we better start talking. And this is just my belief. ISP, I don't care what it says on paper. Okay, who's in charge of the case? ISP is spearheading both of these cases, and they're negotiating deals. They're working Richard Allen against Kegan Kline. That's what you do with two people that are involved. You separate them immediately, and you get their information so that you can use it against them. So
And you make them think that they're using it against each other, that they're saying something about each other.
exactly. So that's what they're doing. And Richard Allen is not in a good position as far as negotiation. He doesn't have anything unless he knows who the other players are. We all know there's other players. It's not just Richard Allen. He's not a lone wolf. So between him and Kegan, their testimonies come together and they make more arrests. They'll both see a deal. They'll both get good sweetheart deals in it.
Like
That's a
Honeybee
good way of
says.
putting it, Honeybee.
Exactly.
And they'll give up the others.
Yep.
The domino. Yeah.
Yeah, quick. And we don't know. I mean, there could be 4, 5, 6, 10 others involved in this. We have no idea.
Exactly.
Right.
We have no idea how many people are involved with this.
Well, because you've got the people that could have planned it, could have executed it,
They're all
Could've
just
worked-
as guilty.
Could have
worked
staged
behind the
it.
scenes afterwards to
Mhm.
cover it up.
That's
Exactly.
my opinion on Kegan. Is I think that he is the one that organized this meeting up thing,
Right.
and somehow Richard Allen and him are somehow connected. Man, that's what I think.
Now, do you
Somehow.
think it was Kegan asking the girls if they want to have sex with an older man and go in the bathroom with an older? You think that's Kegan, or you think
No,
that's
you
Tony?
see, that's where I think it could be connected. It could be Kegan, yes, but I think that's where it's connected to Richard Allen. I think that maybe Richard Allen saying something like that
That's
because
Tony.
he was 45
Or-
years old.
Or Tony.
That's Tony.
Emily Ann 45. You know, that's just a guess.
Yeah.
It could be Tony, yeah. But if it was, wouldn't they know that? You know, if they could tell that his device was being used when he didn't have it, you know,
Well,
Oh,
we'd
they
have
know
to
it.
show
They
that
know it.
Richard Allen had that device then,
Or had
because it was
access-
definitely on those devices.
that may have been what was searched for in
not
the Wabash.
necessarily had the device, but had access to the account.
Which
Okay,
he
yeah.
may have. We can't. You may be
Right.
right. He may have, but that's just an extra step. Whereas Tony lives there, doesn't he? He has access to all those devices. And if they had two devices logged onto the same account at the same time on the same IP address, i.e., at Tony's house,
That's what's going to.
who's that? Was Richard Allen there?
That's why they
Does he
know.
know them?
Yeah, they
That's a
know.
possibility. I mean,
They
That
know
is a
this.
possibility. Yeah,
Yeah.
but more likely is that was Tony. That's more likely.
Yeah.
And I don't know Tony. I don't have a dog in the fight when it comes to Tony. I don't care. I'm looking at it as a law enforcement, just what's the facts and what's more plausible. And I could be wrong. I've been wrong
I'll be right
before.
back, guys.
Okay.
But what do you think, Prof? Do you think that Tony is the one that was talking on those devices, or do you think it was Richard Allen?
Okay, nothing personal, but I think it was more likely Tony. I think it was Tony, 100%. But I mean, it could be Richard Allen or anyone else. But I think that, law enforcement knows, so I'm comfortable with not knowing. But I would assume it would be Tony.
And see, like Danger Dave says, Ari would have ratted out KK out in a heartbeat if they were connected. Well, not necessarily, because they might have not have known each other personally, but only by persona through the social media with their AKA their aliases or their screen names or whatever. It doesn't necessarily mean they knew each other personally.
And
I
not
think
only
they- I
that,
think they
he
did.
could have already, and law enforcement wouldn't have to tell us why. KK's in jail; he's not going anywhere.
Right.
They don't
Yeah.
need it. He could have snitched him out already.
They don't have
I mean,
to tell us anyone involved. I mean, my opinion is I'm not looking for them to tell us who's involved. I'm looking for who they're going to arrest, who they have evidence sufficient to prosecute, and when the time is right for the investigation for the others. But I never would expect them to tell us who else is involved. But
I don't think anybody else is going to be arrested for this. I think that it's going to stop right at Richard Allen.
oh no, I
You
think
think
there's
he's
more.
lone wolf?
No, I don't necessarily think I think he's the only one that killed him. I think that he is the one that killed the girls. But
Did he
I
shoot
think
him?
that I don't know. I think this was my thought from the beginning. I thought that he had a firearm for intimidation, didn't want to use it because someone might hear it, and killed them with a knife. He wanted to get them to a location, and show he was serious about it with a weapon. Get them to a location, and then maybe a sexual assault. But he's not been charged with sexual assault, so it's like, did things get out of hand before then, or was he trying to abduct them with Klines to get them to somewhere else, and they freaked out, and that's why the fight happened? It's like, I think that he stabbed him because they keep talking about sharp objects and stuff like that, and what the witnesses said that they saw.
Well, they said that in the Ron Logan search warrant, but that's a boilerplate. I'm here to tell you. Now, the narrative that this FBI agent put in, with my experience, I've seen that they do this and that and that. Yeah, that's over the top. She's trying to get that warrant signed. But all that other stuff, yeah, absolutely. That's in a lot of search warrants. We're looking for bladed weapons, firearms, ammunition. They put everything they can on there.
Mm-hmm.
But her narrative says a lot. She thinks he was involved, period. And she couldn't have been the only one. She's the one that wrote that warrant. I'm sure that she just didn't do it on her own initiative. There's a bunch of FBI agents that agreed with her. That's why she wrote that narrative.
And like I was telling you, me and you talked about this also, Ruckus, is I don't see an FBI agent going to college, then going to the academy, and then basically jeopardizing her career to put false information in a probable cause affidavit. I just don't see that.
That was just what the information that they had at that time. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they thought. At that time they were trying to clear up his statements and why he lied.
I still want to know who he was in contact with at 2:09 p.m. and then at 7:56 that night, and then 10:16 later that evening. I still want to know who he was in communication with, especially the 2:09, because that's around the time the girls were on the bridge and everything. Because the 2:09 call, then you get Libby taking the last photo of BG at 2:13. And then 2 minutes prior to Ron Logan receiving or sending out a message or whatever it was with his phone, At 2:07, you got Libby taking a photo of Abby on the bridge.
And
Then
6
2
minutes later, Richard Allen's on the bridge.
Exactly.
Some people say that's doctored,
Which one?
that those pictures don't exist, that the girls were never at the bridge. I've heard that a lot
Oh
recently.
yeah, I've heard a lot of
How
that.
can
Yeah.
I know. How can people deny that? I mean, one of the people that were on there took that picture or screenshotted that. You know?
There's thousands of people that agree with that very thing, that they were never at the bridge,
Yeah.
ever.
That's such a weird. I don't see how they could say. I mean, clearly they were. You know.
Well, you can't, and I'm just saying, you can't. You have to be open minded with this whole thing. I'm very confident in what I think, but I'm still. I mean, me and Prof couldn't be further apart, but you can disagree and still be open minded. You have to be a critical thinker. Anything is possible up until they give us some more information.
See,
You know?
this is Vanessa Marie, and I thought the same thing. It was an heads up call or text to Ron Logan, get out of the area. And he didn't know why.
But
Yeah.
I think they would know that by now if they looked at Ron's stuff. I'm
Well,
sure
you
they
got to
did.
remember, he
I
had a
agree.
flip phone. He had a flip phone back then, and those flip phones back then didn't have the technology like the iPhones and all that stuff.
Right, but I still think they would be able to pull that.
And I
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to know who he was talking to. Why haven't they told us who he was talking to or who he was in communication with?
I just
only-
don't,
I don't know.
I don't put much weight on the whole pinging thing. There's just you need three towers
It's
to
similar-
triangulate.
Yeah, it's somewhat inaccurate at times. Yeah.
Sure. Now, in the Kohlberg case, they're confident of that because it's a congested area, so he has to be on those roads. He's not driving through houses, and he actually got pulled over that night where
And
a
he
cop
also-
car with a GPS on it, so they know that's accurate.
And he
so-
was caught on a ring
Right.
camera
right.
driving down those side streets.
But in Delphi, there's one tower in that general area. We don't know how far that goes. It's divided into 3 quadrants, but we don't know how far as it goes. That go 12 miles? It go 5 miles? We don't know what those dishes are. I haven't found out anyway.
I'm not sure.
So
I think there's 2 towers. Yeah.
Even if there's 2, it could ping all over the place. You have to overlap those towers and get a ping right inside there to be accurate, even to a point. You're not going to get it down to a meter or anything like
Right.
that. But I would expect a phone in Ron Logan's possession to ping around that whole area without him leaving his house. Depends on the traffic, depends on which dish it's bouncing off, the weather, depends on a whole shitload of things.
Exactly, and it doesn't have to move from one spot to the next. You can
No.
be sitting right there on the desk and ping out here in the yard, over here. You know,
It can look like it's a mile away.
Yeah,
I
and a
mean-
lot of people don't realize that.
The
Yeah, I think
grandfather
that's
said that her phone was pinging all over town all night. Well, that's a very good
Yeah.
example right there. What'd you
Yeah,
say,
and I don't
Prof?
know-
I'm sorry.
I'm just
Go
saying that I think the ping thing is something that people can get really distracted and, kind of a silly rabbit hole to get stuck down because it's just it doesn't matter. We can't rely on it. I'm still looking for really specific expertise to give me some advice or help me out with understanding it, but I think it doesn't matter.
Well, here's another thing to consider. Really, a lot of people are like, "Well, his phone pinged right here." Okay, well, also at 2 something in the morning, their phone pinged right there too, and they weren't able to find it. So,
Correct.
I mean, that kind of shows that it's not as accurate as what it says. It's in the area of the Monon High Bridge. Well, where? I mean, you just walk through the woods to find a phone. That's going to be very difficult to find.
All of this would be easy to prove. All they need to do is a cell dump for that night. And they know what searchers were there, and they know what police were there, and they all had cell phones. All right, tell me where they were, and let's match it up where they actually were. It's easy to
Exactly.
prove that or
See how
disprove
off
it.
it is.
Right.
Well,
Right.
So-
you
You
know
can
what
actually-
else?
that's a good idea.
I think that my opinion overall is that you had a lot of people there. I mean, we talked about that before, Ruckus. I mean, where aside from the people that were there at the time the girls were there, and then from that point forward 20 hours or something, you've had a lot of people there. So that,
Probably 3 or
in
4
my
years.
mind, that just widens the scope of potential suspects, you know.
I mean, like Danger Dave says right here, the pink thing convicted Alex Murdaugh.
And it's going to convict Kohlberger too, but it's different situations.
Yeah, different.
Totally different.
And it's also 2017, not today.
Right.
Big difference. Yeah. Big
Also,
difference.
I mean, if they could figure out what phone Richard Allen had, he said he had a phone there that day. We don't know. He says he
Well,
did.
he was looking at the stock ticker, so he had to have a phone.
That's what he
Yeah.
said. So if they would
And
just be able to
fish.
figure that out and be like, okay, where did his phone go? Did it go across the creek right here in this area? Did it not? You know, was it on the road at this time? They could. I mean, I don't know if they can figure that out, like by going backtracking and seeing every place it's been. I'm sure they can. You know, wouldn't it just show like a trail of him walking around in that area?
I'll tell you what, all they got to do is tell my wife that I was with him that night and she'll find out.
Yeah, because
Now,
I've seen those GPSs that people have like on their ankle monitors, okay, and like they're on GPS, so they're not on house arrest, they're on GPS monitoring. So like probation or something like that, the courts know exactly where that person is, and they have printouts of where they've went. So if they went somewhere they weren't supposed to go, these people actually have printouts of where it says they went. So I'm thinking that cell phones pretty much do the same thing, right? Would you guys agree with that?
It depends on the cell phone and honestly the towers, to be quite honest with
well,
you.
and Yukio just made a comment that's perfect. Is that the cell pings and the GPS are totally different, and it depends on the phone and what's set on the phone and the time period. So that's another thing. If they have GPS, well, now we're talking a whole different ball game.
Yeah, GPS is much more accurate. And just to help you out, I've been thinking if I wanted to address what that person says, I'm just going to call him Yo-Yo.
Yo-Yo.
Yes, Marie, GPS is a lot more accurate than a phone.
It's accurate up to 4 feet.
Now, her phone, I looked at it, right? It was an iPhone 5.
Yes.
It had what's called beacon built into it. Now, a lot of people don't realize that, you know, even back in the day when they had removable batteries, you could take your battery out of your phone and law enforcement can still track you and listen in on your call, you know, off your speaker. You could put your battery out and set your phone on the table and the FBI could listen through your phone what's going on. Well, there's a little thing called beacon that businesses use. When you go in the mall, every one of them has a beacon device and it connects to your phone, so they know when you're in the area and they know if you come into their store. And there's a reason, and everybody in here knows this. You think about something and it pops up on your Facebook feed, you know, something for sale or whatever. You talk to somebody about it and it pops up. Don't tell me nobody's listening, because they are listening. So that beacon, if that night, if they had thought to get a handheld beacon device, they could have found their phone pretty quick. It's like, I think 400 feet. Within 400 feet, you can pick up a phone. So if they thought of that night, they could have found their phone that night, even if the battery was dead.
And that's the inexperience of what was going on here. They just weren't experienced with that, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's Delphi. It's not New York City, and
Exactly.
I understand that. I really feel bad for those folks. I don't think anybody's malicious. I don't think that anybody in law enforcement is trying to do anything wrong, but they just don't know. They have no idea, you know.
So I have a question for you guys. Kennedy says that's my point. The fact that the judge did grant a bond hearing for a double homicide means proof is not evident. I don't agree with that. I think this judge is going to go and do whatever she has to do to make sure this case is airtight.
Well, here's what's going to happen, that bond hearing. They're going to try and prove that there's not enough evidence for that charge. That's the only way they can win that, because there is no bond for a felony murder. So what they have to prove to the judge is, look at this PC. There's not enough evidence here. That's why I don't believe that there's 40 pages to that PC. If there was, there wouldn't be a bond hearing, you know.
Yeah, and like you said, there is no bond. There's supposed to be no bond. Actually, that's exactly what I was just looking up is local Indiana court rules about bail. You know, what about a murder? Are they entitled to any kind of bond at all? So they're not entitled to it, but they could get one.
Well, our constitutional right states that we are entitled to request a bond hearing. Now it's up to the judge if she wants to grant a bond hearing. That's
Right.
our constitutional right.
I think she has to. I don't think she has a choice. She has to because the way they filed it, Frank, that we're requesting this bond hearing because we don't think that this charge is correct. Because they could, I've said it before, in my day, he would have been charged with the weapon charge, kidnapping, felony murder,
All of it.
and
All
if
of
it's
it.
his bullet, littering for throwing that bullet on the ground, any jaywalking across 300, anything.
They would have charged him with everything.
Right, but they didn't. Why? That's what kills me. Why? Because they're confident. They know that they have him on this charge.
All they
You know?
can prove is kidnapping. That's all they have to prove. I mean,
That's all they
Yep.
need.
period.
With the felony murder.
That's all
Yeah.
they need.
Yep.
So
Well,
you know
guys-
he's already Kegan. What about Kegan? Why are you talking to me? What about Kegan? He's snitching like crazy.
Well, guys, we've been at it about an hour and 40 minutes.
It doesn't matter. We can keep going.
My ears are starting to hurt real bad.
You can jump off if you want.
Okay. You know how my
Your ears are hurting.
Yeah, because I got earbuds and I don't have speakers for my computer yet to where I can hear and talk.
We're gonna have to get you set up, Frank.
Yes,
Someone
I'll
Someone
get
donate to
him.
Frank's headphone cause.
Well, I had a set here, as a matter of fact.
He did.
I had a mic and a set of headphones. Well, when I was in Delphi, if I think the first time when I came home, my dog had flipped out so bad because he was here by himself all day. My tower and everything was laying on the floor and it broke off the piece inside my tower, but I was able to get it out. Now I just need to get a new set of this.
Well, just remind me and we'll order you one tomorrow.
So, and plus I wear hearing aids too, and it bothers me to wear these things in my ears.
Well, this is
Well,
awkward. You know, what do we
thank you
do?
for
This
the-
is awkward. Very, very
I'll
awkward.
stay on. It don't make no difference.
If Frank wants to get off, okay.
No,
We can
no,
get- I don't matter.
I see Grizz is giving me shit here in the chat.
Look,
There you go.
you're getting donations already. Super stickers for your headphones.
Frank's headphones, everybody. So I posted
Thank you.
in the private chat. I posted a bail schedule that I just copied and pasted. It doesn't come up the best on the chat or whatever, but I'm not able to post this link in the
Oh,
in
I
the chat
can.
box through
Hey,
StreamYard.
Deb.
So I just copied and pasted some text.
Hold on a
Okay.
second. I'm gonna get to Deb here. The VA won't supply hearing aids with Bluetooth.
Well, actually, Frank, I hate to burst your bubble, but they do. I have them.
Well, they didn't give them to me.
Oh, dude, mine. I can listen to music all day and listen to people. It's nice.
Because I'd like to have them just to hook up to my phone. Because wearing hearing aids without Bluetooth and putting that phone up to your ear, you get so much feedback.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Well, I have 2 pairs, dude. Maybe I'll send you one. I don't
No.
hardly wear them.
They
So much
done
for
been
them.
in your ears, man. I ain't no.
They're brand new.
Oh.
Yeah, they're brand new. I got a second pair.
Thank you for the donations and super stickers. I'll make sure I get Frank some good stuff tomorrow.
You know, my car's not running well. Have I told you guys that?
I don't have that much.
Hey, super stickers go a long way.
Yes, they do. They help.
Yeah, super stickers and super chats. That's a good thing they did on there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like seeing that.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's definitely appreciated when you guys do that for our channels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It really does help, all the stuff that we're
Does.
doing.
And see, we like to have other creators on our show too, because we like to help try to promote their channels at the same time.
Right?
Oh, I like doing collaborations. That's probably my favorite thing to do is get with other people and talk about things, because
Right.
it's different points of view. I mean, and you don't agree on things. I like that because, like he said, you got to keep an open mind. It does get you thinking about things. It's like, well, that's a good point. If I hadn't
Right.
listened to you, I'd still be stuck over here. But it's like, okay, I'm listening to that, and I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe I need to change something about what I'm thinking here.
Boy, the
because
super
that's-
stickers are just coming in like crazy now, aren't they?
See that?
Thank you, Dee. Thank you, 2000 whistleblower.
Thanks, guys.
Man, you're gonna
See?
have some badass headphones, man.
Hey.
It's Chris.
Right, thanks, Chris.
Hey, Frank told me he was going to do this earlier today, just so you guys all know that.
Hey, but you have to admit, you never see our channel pushing super stickers or super chats or anything like that. We don't push none of that.
I'll push it for you.
That's a voluntary thing. What we do push is try to push our merchandise.
Merchandise.
Yes.
You guys got merchandise for
Oh,
the event?
Oh yeah, we got a
Just want to show you guys
Nice.
Oh, awesome.
one of the new Justice for Tabitha shirts I got from Andrea and her sister.
Beautiful.
And I got another one, a purple one.
Yeah.
How's the quality of the shirt, Mark?
It's
I've got-
awesome.
I got
good.
the black and purple one, and I've got one of our Marv t-shirts and a hoodie that says Frank Meister on the back of it.
Right
So,
on.
Ruckus, most of your shirts, it's got like a patch on it that has the picture.
Mhm.
This is embedded right into the shirt.
Nice.
Mhm.
It's never coming off.
So it's not vinyl.
No.
No,
It-
Another super sticker.
It's
It's
sublimated.
Sublimated.
Suspicious
It's
mind.
awesome.
Thank you for the super sticker. Boston Christian. Thank you for the super chat.
Yes, thank you so much.
There we go. There goes some headphones.
Yeah.
Now next time it'll be, oh, we gotta go. My ears are sweaty with
Hey,
these
let
things.
me tell you a little story. When me and Marv first hooked up,
Heather Brown, thank you.
all I had was
Oh, yeah.
a laptop and my headset. That's all I had.
And your
You guys-
personality.
Over the ear headphones. You got it, Derek. I'll get them.
Yeah.
And I'm going to
these
get them
damn
on
bugs are killing
microphone,
my
too.
ears. Look at Derek. Look, man, thank you, people. Much
See that?
appreciated.
They don't want you to get
Oh.
off, Frank. They don't want you
I ain't
sneaking
going
out.
nowhere. I
Okay.
see the love in the chat.
Let me just say, Andrea's saying not sublimated. It's DTF.
What's
Whatever
DTF?
that is.
I know
I
what
don't
DTF is.
Wait,
Another super sticker.
not the same DTF here.
Stop it.
You stop it.
Carly, thank you so much.
And then we got Willow Rain donated another one.
Yep.
Thank you.
That'll help because I need to get him a snowball microphone and
Oh, one of these blue
headphones.
snowball microphones. That's what I got.
What I really
what I
want to
got.
know, hey Marv, I want to know is if you've tested out the new camera with the external mic on it yet.
Yeah, I got the black one.
I'm doing that this weekend.
Because if they allow us to videotape during the bond hearing, I want to make sure that I'm able to get good sound and everything.
There you go.
Yes, I will do that this weekend.
Frank, I'll be there with you. Trust
Me and
we'll-
Rick will be up there early. Well, me and Marv were talking about just putting me up in a hotel for a couple days instead of driving back and forth. Put me up there for a couple days and just go to the courthouse from Lafayette.
Watch
You
it.
can come up here and stay with me. You can come stay with me and we can roll out.
What?
You can come up
I'm
here.
Oh.
sorry.
You're all right,
There you
Prof.
Sorry about that.
Prof, tell little man I said hello.
All right, hold on.
I love that kid.
Love it.
He's
Man.
so cute.
Oh,
Well,
here
he
we
knows
go.
me by my real name. His son knows me by my real name.
Here we go. Where's she go? Miss Thing's already starting.
Who's Miss Thing?
Oh my goodness. Here
She
we
lives
go.
she lives about 20 minutes from me.
Pineapples.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, Anthony, Ruckus, and Prof, one Friday night, we were out here on YouTube having a good time, and the subject of the new sheriff came up and how his side pleasure is swinger parties.
Oh.
Yeah.
The symbol for a swinger party is an upside down pineapple.
And everybody kept going, what's a pineapple party? So I had to actually look it up and see what it meant. And I said, oh my, this dude's a swinger?
Oh my goodness.
You know that.
I
So
just
he-
want to know why she's buying you 10 pineapples then.
I don't know, Miss Thang. Well,
Buy him a swing set.
We
no.
actually have t-shirts that say No pineapple parties.
Yeah,
with
we've
a
got those too.
upside down pineapple.
She just dropped you off on the corner of out there and Front Street, Frank.
Yes,
Yes,
what
she
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 did.
did. I don't know why.
We love Frank and Mark. Pineapples laughing out loud. Now they're all getting into it. 'cause
Man,
they
we were
remember.
laughing so hard that night. It was like we were crying while we were
Oh,
live.
yeah.
We were laughing so hard.
I'm
Nobody
laughing now.
Go to Urban
Oh,
Dictionary
yeah.
and look up the pineapple. What is a pineapple party? And just anybody out there that wants to look that up
Yeah.
on Urban Dictionary.
And now
There's 3
they
results.
send us pictures of upside down pineapples in the grocery store.
Oh my goodness. I don't get the correlation.
I don't either.
I don't know how the symbol became an upside down pineapple,
Well,
and how the name became Pineapple Party, but it's
I
stuck.
won't look at pineapples the same ever again now.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
Honestly, I haven't.
Prof, have you ever heard of that? Pineapples upside down means a swinger? I haven't either. I live a sheltered life, I guess.
People have told us they've seen the stickers of this on people's cars.
I just Googled it and it says that.
Oh.
It's swingers looking for a partner.
Yep.
I'm going to get pineapple stickers now and start sticking them on my friends' cars.
It'll be Frank's new logo.
They've got to be upside down pineapples.
I know. I heard it.
Okay.
I'll do it right. I'll do it sideways for the ones that, you know.
Halfway there.
Yeah, it's not really for a swinger. You know, you can bring your wife, but that's it. That's a sideway pineapple.
Y'all some sick
Who found
motherfuckers.
this out?
Oh, look at
Is that
this.
even-
Look at this. CJK says some of those swingers on adult cruises put upside down pineapple stickers on their cabin doors.
Oh, my goodness. TMI.
Well,
I asked.
you
That's
asked,
my fault.
we had
I
to
asked.
We had to fill you in, so
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
Bob-
can't say a cuss word, but YouTube's okay with that whole conversation.
Hey, maybe we should talk to whatchamacallit, that girl, what's her name? I don't want to say her real name.
there's lots of girls.
The escort. I don't want to say her real name. Well, I'll just say, okay, I'll say her first name.
She's
Kiera.
an adult now, so I mean, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, she
You
knows
talking about
those
Frost's
clubs.
friends? Judge Frost's friend?
Judge Pouts? Yeah.
Yes.
Fouts.
Yeah.
There you go. Frost.
Yeah.
Fouts.
So I interviewed her. I've got her on my stuff. I could talk to her about stuff. She does follow this stuff here. You know, she does follow this stuff. So
Yeah,
she knows about those clubs. She's been to those clubs. So she can actually probably tell us if she's ever encountered those individuals there or seen or heard anything.
Well, text her an upside down pineapple and see what she responds. We'll take it from there.
Price.
You'll get an eggplant back.
Yeah, they sent me a pineapple T-shirt too, and it has never been put on. I have never put that T-shirt on.
I wear mine.
Not me.
Yeah, Jalen Rain. There you go, everybody. That's her stage name or whatever. Yeah, her
Frank's
name's
wearing
Jalen.
that shirt right now. It's just inside out. You can't fool me, brother.
Oh, no.
That's why he's got to get off the stream, eh?
No.
Oh, that's funny.
Man, now I'm really ready to smoke some weed.
Hey,
I might smoke
with
weed.
it.
I'll
I'm
join you.
allowed
Why
to
not?
say it. That's the first time tonight.
hey.
The first time tonight. It's medical.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hey,
the YouTube frowns on it if you talk about it or anything.
really?
Yeah, I was,
Yeah,
What-
they
what-
do.
What
I
about
did
if
last
it's involved in a true crime case?
that's what I did.
Yeah, that's all.
I had the true crime buzz where I'd smoke it and talk about crime. So I mean,
I think of Miss Perseverance. She said, "Shit's getting deep in here."
Yeah, I'm gonna raise my hand, save my watch. It's too late for my hat.
yeah. If anybody's out there, take a drink for Ruckus.
Yeah, puff puff pass. Yo yo.
All right, that's enough. This channel, this show's being monetized, and we don't want to lose this money.
What are you talking about? You just banked on super stickers. What are you talking?
Yeah, I'm not monetized yet. Yeah, you already made your $50.
YouTube can demonetize the show.
Yeah, they can.
Oh, that's funny.
But what else is there to talk about, guys? What else we
I
need to
think
talk about?
Talk about my Discord.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
your
Hey,
Discord.
D,
I'm still
Oh my
learning.
goodness.
hold on. D, if you're in the chat still, can you drop the Prof's Discord link in our chat?
His Discord's fun. I have a
Yeah.
great time in there.
Yep.
I stick and move. I get in there, make some comments, and then I go back to my Discord. You know, get everybody all riled up, and then hook it.
There it is.
All
Medical
right.
posted it.
Thank
Appreciate it,
you.
Grizz. He's one of our moderators.
Grizz is the man.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Grizz.
He's a good dude. I talk to him basically on a daily basis.
You talk to everybody on a daily basis.
I basically do. If I'm not hearing that, and I'm calling people, have you heard anything up, any news, anything? If I'm not seeing no chatter or hearing no chatter, I'm calling people.
Oh yeah, man. There is one thing I wanted to talk to you about. I wanted to bring that up while we were on this because I know a bunch of people are going to watch this.
I'll be right back.
That ski mask incident. So what did we ever come to the conclusion on that, Frank?
They sent me an email, said they received my request and they're reviewing my request, and that they're going to take a look into it, and it could take up to 30 days before they respond. That's
And the question to them was what?
I asked him specifically on about February 20th, 2017. There was an alleged incident that supposedly took place of a ski mask incident with a peeping Tom, and the minor came home and seen this happening and got a hold of her parents, and they called the police, and an alleged report was made. So what I did is I got a hold of the Galveston Police Department, and he had me on the phone while he was going through his system, and he said, we don't have anything. I went all the way back to February 1st is what he told me, and didn't find no police run or anything. He said, that doesn't mean that we didn't get the call because we're shorthanded in staff. They would have transferred over to the Cowles County Sheriff's Department. So now I'm waiting on their response. And if they don't have anything, my next step is ISP.
Okay, that's probably a good idea.
So,
I'm just curious about that. People have been asking me if that's, I said I don't know if it's completely legit or not without
We're trying to
question
find out.
exactly. And
That's
it's
the
just
only way
like,
to do it.
and just like everybody's big question about Ron Logan's death, just because there's no
He's dead.
obituary, that's
Yeah.
what I'm getting at. Just because there's no obituary or anything doesn't mean he's dead. Prime example, my younger brother passed away this past September. There was no obituary for him. When my mom passed away, her obituary cost us $400 something.
Yes.
So it just depends on the family if they're able to afford it, or they just didn't want anybody knowing where he was buried at, where they can go and trash his gravesite.
That's probably what it
anything.
is.
Mhm.
And so what I'm planning to do is I've got the paperwork right here. As a matter of fact, hold on. The Cass County Health Department sent me an application that I needed to fill out and send back to them with a $13 money order in order to get Ron Logan's death certificate, just to show that he's actually dead, so we could put that to rest.
Yep.
Yeah, and
that's
that
what
should
we're
really
doing.
shouldn't even be a thing to have to do because
Right.
he's dead. Why would he just, when I came out and told everybody like, okay, Ron Logan's dead, and other people started creating videos on it too. It's not like we just had some conspiracy where we all decided to say Ron Logan's dead for some reason.
I think my main point was like, well, we never saw an obituary or anything like that, so I just want to put it to rest and show that he's actually deceased.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I gave a couple of prime examples why there might have not have been an obituary. So
Yes, there are people, Cindy, that think Ron Logan is still alive.
I know. Have we talked about that ski mask incident, Frank? Speaking of that,
did.
just
did I
did.
miss it? Okay. All
yeah,
right.
just
that's
did.
exactly
Well,
what
I'll be on the replay crew. I'll go check
Yes.
it out.
Frank is putting in paperwork for it.
Okay.
It might take us 30 days to get it.
So if there's
They weren't able
actually
to find
report,
anything yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
and
weren't
I
able
would-
to find anything yet.
I have an opinion. I don't see why it wouldn't be true. I read through it, and
well, I mean,
I'm leaning towards it, just as it's presented, it happened.
Right.
I mean, it could be something that was created to throw law enforcement off.
Okay. Well, who does everybody think it was then? It couldn't have been the Klines. They were in Vegas. No doubt about that. So who was it?
If it legitimately happened, I'm looking at one of two gentlemen.
TT.
There you go.
And RA.
There you go.
Yeah. Now, which one of them is slim and tall?
TT.
Oops. Ruh-roh.
You know, so, and that's why I brought up the conversation in Prof's chat about who leaves an open Wi-Fi at their house for anybody just to go by and sit in front of their house and use their Wi-Fi.
Let me see. Carry the 3. Nobody.
Exactly.
Yeah, nobody
And
does.
see, it's got to be somebody that's related to that household that would have the password in order to enter the Wi-Fi signal.
Mm-hmm.
Something to say. TT is Travis,
Yes.
Kegan's cousin.
Kegan's cousin.
Yep.
There you go. Now, let me ask you something. Is he a cousin on his mom's side or
Yes.
his dad's side?
His mom's side.
Okay. See, Frank does his homework.
It's on the mom's
Were
side.
they in Vegas or was that the following day?
Well, when was the search warrant on the house? That was the 25th?
25th.
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 And the ski mask incident happened on the 19th, I believe it was.
The
Allegedly.
20th, the 20th, which was President's Day, so there was no school.
Okay.
And see, we don't know if this alleged incident, if the girl was getting off the school bus, because from word and rumor that's gone around is she got off the school bus and saw this person.
Well, if she got off the school bus, then there was school, wasn't there?
Well, I went back and checked their calendar and there was no school.
So what school bus was she on?
Good question.
Right. Right. That whole thing is shady to me. I'm glad that you're getting to the bottom of it, Frank. There'd be no gray area.
Yeah, we just
Once you
want to put things to rest once and for all on those.
And I appreciate that. And I hope you call me when you get that so I can do a live before you guys do. Steal your shit.
Yeah, give the information out, please.
Because we all know that's how I roll. I steal people's shit and run on there with it. I do more lives with other people than I do on my own shit.
On your own show?
Yeah, but that's okay. I'm new.
I think I do too, actually.
I'm new. You know, I'm meeting some great people and I'm having a great time. So
It is.
Hey, I've met some wonderful people out on the YouTube community.
Except
great people.
Except Prof. Yeah, except Prof.
Stop picking on your buddy.
He is my buddy.
I know.
Me and Prof go way back like a lazy boy.
We got 175 in chat, but only 87 likes. I need people to put their DNA on that thumbs up. It helps our aneurysms.
Algorithm.
I'm having an aneurysm.
It helps your aneurysm, man. If you hit that like button, it will help the aneurysms here. Look, now he needs headache medicine and headphones.
And Frank, you know, this is a true crime channel. Nobody's going to put their DNA on a damn thing. I wouldn't use that one anymore.
Hey, if you're on your own end, you can put your DNA on it.
Yeah.
Good thing you didn't say that to Daniel Nations.
Jeez.
Good Lord.
Daniel Nations. So let me ask you guys this. So what do you think of Julian Powell?
Bullshit. Crazy. Obnoxious, crazy. Just crazy.
Not relevant.
I mean, but you got to think of this. He's even got own video of himself being on the bridge at like 8 o'clock in the morning on the 13th.
He says he worked for Google, yeah.
So why would he be out there?
Working for Google. He had to go take the pictures for the Google satellite.
He's not doing a very good job. Have you seen the Google pictures of that bridge? It's like a wave. It doesn't even look like a bridge. It looks horrible.
Yeah, I know. It does look weird. So it's like he did the 3D or the 360-degree camera thing.
Yeah.
So he had to walk out there and take the pictures. Well, if you look at that video, at that on Google, and you like look down, you can see him, the top of his hat. You can't see him, but you can see his hat and like his body. That may not even be him.
Well, he admitted it was him.
He did admit it, but I mean, I've seen people admit a lot of crazy stuff in here.
Like that crap he tried to pull. Well, I saw the girls, but I didn't say anything because I didn't want to make him feel creepy. Then he comes back and says, well, I might have been dreaming that.
Yeah, I think that he's just putting it out there. I don't think he's yeah.
I don't think he's relevant, to be honest with you.
I agree.
Alex says Travis is related through Linda. Her brother married Travis's mom.
Linda, which is TK's mom.
Have a good night, honeybee.
So is he a cousin then, or is he an uncle?
It's Tony's first cousin, which would be Keegan's second cousin.
Keegan's second cousin. Okay. So how old is this Travis dude?
He's 30 something.
And Keegan is
Or
almost
no,
30?
he might be in his early 40s, late 30s, early 40s.
Okay. I can see the 40s probably better.
Yeah.
Likely. Yeah. Okay. That's all I got to say, man, on the topic. Now it's just a waiting game. See what
It
happens.
sure is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm
Anything else?
anticipating that
Well,
the bail hearing is going to get pushed out again. I just have a feeling for some reason it's going to get pushed out again.
I think it's going to happen. And I think that by the time that happens, I think we're going to be able to film Kegan Kline's hearing as well in May.
Yeah.
Because the first is that law gets set. By the time the judge is going to
Well, the bail hearing was scheduled for the 30th, and they pushed that out. And it just so happens that the 30th is when Kegan Kline pled. So, that's all intertwined, I think. That's Richard Allen's team pushed that bail hearing out for a reason. We want to see what Kegan Kline's going to do before.
And I think that maybe
anything.
it'd also be a thing where, like, okay, maybe Keegan's not going to get a deal on a plea agreement prior to sentencing, but they may have come at him and said, all right, look, man, you're going to plead guilty and the judge is going to hand you down whatever he hands you down. But when this trial comes about with Richard Allen, if you're going to testify and you do so and it produces results, then we'll consider a modification of that sentence. That could be something.
Well, that would have to be on Keegan's defense team to come about with that kind of
Yeah, but they may have
situation.
talked about it quietly, and just been like, well, this is an option.
Well, see, that's what me and Ruckus were talking about. Kegan Kline, even though they didn't mention it during the hearing yesterday about Delphi, that doesn't mean he's not talking behind the scenes with Carroll County officials.
Right.
Correct.
They're not going to mention that in Miami County because their case is
It's not
separate
gonna
from
do it.
right. And everybody, see, we had to explain that all in the Discord the other day, and people still
Yeah, they
didn't
were real
understand.
careful not to even talk about him even messaging Libby on that.
Right,
Yes.
right, exactly. And then you got people out there saying, "Well, Libby, Keegan never really talked to Libby. He did too, because when he was on the
Yes, he did.
Discord yesterday." I said, "Yes, he did. He admitted to speaking to her. He said that she got annoying to the point where he had to block her."
Yeah, and that he agreed to meet there. I mean, he talked to her. We found that information over a year ago.
Yeah.
Right.
The day after they told us to look for this profile, we knew who Kegan Kline was by 8 o'clock the next morning.
And see, everybody's wanting to know, did law enforcement know about Anthony Schott's account before the ski mask incident? My personal opinion, I believe they did, due to the fact is that Kelsey had contact with Anthony Schatz on the 13th. She even admitted that she contacted him to see if he knew where the girls were or had talked to him.
Now, here's a question I have on that too. How did she know Anthony Schatz, or did she log on to Libby's account and see that she spoke to him?
From our understanding is that she had all Libby's passwords
Okay.
and was able to go in and check her phones.
So then that's innocent then. If she didn't know who Anthony Schatz was outside of logging onto her sister's phone and seeing that they communicated, that's innocent. That's
Because she knew that
expected.
she had used Snapchat. She
Sure.
knew it because of the picture, and I think that's a reasonable explanation that you just said.
Now, if she knew him prior to that, I mean, a lot of people are still on the family, which I personally think is ridiculous, but that's why they're on it. They're saying, well, she knew who he was. Why? How else would she contact him?
They were in Libby's phone well before the ski mask incident. They had to have seen the Anthony Schatz.
I mean,
Now, who's they?
Law enforcement.
Okay.
yeah, they saw that right away.
They
Yeah,
had
they know
to.
it.
And they also
And they
went to the
would have
Maxwell
known all
house
the
and put their
history.
lips on it.
Go
That's
ahead.
my opinion is we don't know. We don't know because law enforcement would know because they would go and look at all the history. But
Exactly.
I don't think we have a way. There's no way we would know. So, like many things, I have to leave it open ended, and
It'll come out in the trial.
and go into other things. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and
If we
again,
go to
I just mentioned, the family and stuff like that. You can't. We don't know the whole
No, I
thing,
wasn't. Okay, hang on. Someone wrote that. Connie, no, I wasn't texting Anthony Schatz. that's a little taken out of context there. So no, yeah, my phone was looked at because of an individual that I had talked to, but it wasn't Anthony Shots. I've never spoken to an account like that. So the story's a little bit different than that.
Well, law enforcement would know if you did.
Yeah, they would know if I did. So they
without any of your devices.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, they would have known. Yeah, because they would have looked on his devices and know that he contacted me.
Sure. Now, I believe I'm in disagreement with some people that we agree on a lot of things as to when they found out about Anthony Shots. And to me, within hours of them finding Libby's phone, they knew who Anthony Shots was.
That's my opinion. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. And for those of you that have never heard anything that I've said up until this point, there's probably a lot of people here that have never seen me or heard of me, but it's not uncommon for law enforcement to take her phone and look at that account, and they immediately found out who Kegan Kline was because he's the one that created that account. Well, they may not have arrested him initially because they were using those accounts. They were catfishing the catfishers.
Yeah.
On all of his social media platforms, not just the Anthony Shots account, the Emily, all that, so that they could contact these people and get more information. Anybody that's familiar with To Catch a Predator, that Chris Hansen show, they do that on there as well. They just reversed engineered that process.
Right.
So there's no doubt in my mind that they did that, and it may never come out. If it does, I'm going to be a smirking SOB at everybody, but I believe that's what they were doing. They were using that account and getting information out of Kegan without him realizing it. That's why I say he's dumb. He doesn't know that he was going to be arrested.
Lollipop. How did Kelsey get into Libby's phone if the phone was with Libby? Our understanding is that she used like an iPad or something like that.
Well, they don't even need that. Kelsey could use her own phone, log out of Snapchat, and log back into Libby's account.
Using Libby's login information, yes.
Yep.
Right. My granddaughter thinks that I can do that in her all the time, so that's how I keep her on check. I don't know her information, though. But I'm Papa. I can lie. You damn right I can lie.
All right. I got to jump off here, guys.
All right. Well, we are at over the 2-hour mark. It looks like we got another super sticker. Z-Man, much appreciated. I want to thank everybody for coming on the panel tonight. Anthony Greeno, much appreciated. The video was great, bro. Keep doing up the good work. Prof, we'll see you in Discord. Ruckus, same with you.
Thanks for having me.
It's a daily thing with me and you, so we know how that works out. So,
yep.
But once again, I appreciate everybody coming in tonight in our chat. We love you all.
Yes.
Anthony, if you want to do your thing real quick.
Always, man. So I'm Anthony Greeno from True Crime News or True Crime Investigates. Keep it Southern style, y'all.
And as for Marvin Frank, peace out. One love. Good night, guys.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good
See you
night.
in Discord.
All right,
Get him
guys.
up in Discord, man.
All right, guys.
Later.
Bye.